Heather Slesser here with the University of Wisconsin-Madison Division of Extension. Today I am joined by Dr. Kevin Bernhardt from the University of Wisconsin-Platteville and the Center for Dairy Profitability. Dr. Bernhardt is going to talk with us about his fact sheet, Cash Flowing to the Other Side of COVID-19. Good morning, Dr. Bernhardt.
Good morning, Heather. Hope everything is well up your way.
Doing good, thank you. In this fact sheet, you're talking about cash flowing to the other side. So what is the first thing farmers should look at when figuring out how to cash flow during this crisis?
And the first thing that farmers need to look at and try to figure out in that is what is a cash flow? What's the anatomy, if you will, of a cash flow? What you see in front of you is the structure or the anatomy of a cash flow. And this is the way to think about this, is that any kind of cash coming into the farm, any kind of cash that's going out of the farm has to happen in one of these, I think it's 9 different areas. So the blue ones, these top 3, cash inflow from operations, capital asset sales, non-farm sources, are sources of cash coming into the farm. Also, the 4th area is new borrowing. That's also a place where cash can come into the farm. We also have several places where cash goes off the farm, certainly for outflow from operations. So when we purchase feed, seed, fertilizer, labor, pay for taxes, etc., that is all cash outflow from operations. Capital asset purchases, when we buy new cows, when we buy a new tractor, and buildings improvements and things like that, that's capital asset purchases. That's cash that's going off the farm. Non-farm outflows can be for all kinds of activities that we have that are not necessarily related to the farm, but they do take cash from the farm. And then, of course, we have debt service. So we have to pay our interest and principal back to the bank. So one of the first steps for a producer is to look at the anatomy of cash flows. This is their outline, if you will, for how to plan for creating cash flows.
How can farmers create a greater cash flow?
You have those 4 areas where inflow is coming in, and you have the 4 areas where outflow is going out. So the exercise is to go into each one of those areas and try to see where I can get more inflows and where I can get more outflows. For example, the normal ones, the ones that we would deal with in a non-crisis time, would be trying to create more inflows from cash operating income. So for example, the things that we do kind of on a regular basis, we always are wanting to become more efficient with our production. Now we're doing all those as a regular part of business. So the question now in a crisis time, is there something additional that we can possibly do there? The other one that's sort of the normal one that we would do all the time is trying to reduce our cash operating expenses. Now the problem with these first 2 that I mentioned is we're doing those all the time. So certainly we want to look in those areas, but we probably have exhausted a lot of those already. So then we kind of want to go back and look at some of the other more unusual ones. So another area of incoming cash can come from capital asset sales. Do we have some capital assets? And when I say capital assets, I mean those things that we put to work on our farm. Is there any of those assets that are being underutilized that we maybe can get along without? And therefore we can sell that asset if we can find a good market for it. Is there a way some in the household go to work in town? Well, that's a way to create some non-farm. Another area we can look at is reducing capital asset purchases. In a situation like we're in today, a lot of these things will be kind of a band-aid. The one area that you really might have to take a strong look at is your debt service. So if you have a substantial amount of debt service that you have to worry about, this might be the time to go and talk to that lender.
In this situation, what can I do tomorrow after breakfast? How do I start moving forward?
It's a great question. I think there's a couple things that you can do tomorrow morning after breakfast. And one of those things is if you don't have a good, strong balance sheet or some kind of documentation that tells you what your obligations are, that would be a great place to start. The second one is go and have those conversations with your spouse, with your lender, with other consultants that you work with. Let them know what it is you're wanting to do. Have them help you. It's in all their interests that you succeed. And if you reach out to them, then that gives them the opportunity to come up with some creative ideas back.
Thank you for being with us today and sharing your knowledge.
You're very welcome, and best wishes to everyone.